In this episode, we follow the riders to Fieberbrunn Pillerseetal, Austria for the 5th stage of the Freeride World Tour. The judges play World Tour Scrabble. Skier Christine Hargen talks about making the transition from alpine skiing. The juniors meet the pros and compete in Austria, plus all the best action from the skiers and snowboarders in Fieberbrunn.
Hey, what's going on? It's John. We're hanging out here in Fieberbrunn, Austria.
What can I say about Austria that wasn't already played in the notes of Mozart? Wait, no.
The culture is definitely different. I mean, I showed up and they're playing accordions and horns in the bar.
I'm the local here in Fieberbrunn.
I'm the local here in Fieberbrunn, and I know the mountain. I've been here in Fieberbrunn and around the backcountry for over 20 years, more or less. Being here always gives me lots of energy. Fieberbrunn is a special place for sure. There are excited skiers everywhere. They're open towards the sport of freeriding. You certainly feel like some kind of rock star when coming to Fieberbrunn. Well, you certainly can feel the energy coming from the local people here in Fieberbrunn. They stick together in order to make this a mega event. The FWT loader is over 2,100 meters high, and the run down to the finish line has over 600 meters in elevation. However, the specialty of the FWT loader is in its steepness at the drop-in at the start. After that, it shapes into a bowl before it becomes a little less steep, and then another steep section after that. The maximum incline is about 60 degrees, so yeah, it's really demanding.
It's been a roller coaster here for conditions. We had 20-degree heat last week, and then we had about 5 days of snowfall, and it's pretty exciting to see what that face is going to hold.
Yeah, we got a couple of centimeters of fresh snow, and the snow base is pretty stable. Now everything is pointing towards the contest. Oh, we are so excited. After a lengthy holding period, the sun was finally out in Fieberbrunn Pillerseetal with a fresh blanket of snow covering the FWT loader. Riders were ready to take on this decisive stage of the tour. Casey Lucas, back from riding her home resort in Kirkwood for the last stage, dropped fall line into the contest face. Lucas took a creative line and rode a series of fast small airs at the top of the venue before dropping a large 6-meter cliff. But a heavy butt slam there would limit her score. 60 points was enough for Lucas's first podium of the season at 3rd place. Utah resident Shannon Yates, enjoying a good competition season so far, took a typically challenging line, but landed badly in the mixed snow at the base of the cliff. She'd take 5th place and secured her position for the finals in Verbier. Anouk Mouton of La Clusaz, France, dropped fall line into the contest face as well. Making powder turns into the couloir, she dropped a small, clean air, then continued to make good use of the face, riding fluidly to the bottom. Mouton's score of 62.67 was enough to put her into 2nd place in Fieberbrunn. Tour leader Margot Rosias, fresh from winning in Kirkwood, rode a conservative line here in Fieberbrunn, doing just enough to take 6th place and leaving the title race wide open going into Verbier. And Elodie Mouton, twin sister of Anouk, chose the rider's right-hand side of the face. Making fast, confident powder turns through the couloir below, Mouton was also quick to jump any feature she found, landing them all cleanly. A good-sized, no-hesitation air near the bottom and a controlled landing sealed the deal for Mouton, giving her a score of 70 points and 1st place. I've never won before. It's my first time in the Freeride World Tour, and I'm really happy. My twin sister Anouk finished 2nd, so it's really cool to have both of us on the podium. There was plenty at stake for the male snowboarders in Fieberbrunn, with a number of riders still sitting very close together on the points board. Aurélien Routin of Le Grave, France, had struggled to find form again after his earlier win in Courmayeur. Taking the rider's left to the face, Routin dropped into a steep chute, landing a 5-meter air into a cloud of powder. Riding almost blind, Routin pointed it straight down the couloir, outrunning the loose snow in committed and confident style. Keeping his speed and flow, Routin ripped down the face, shredding pow and popping fast airs off wind lips. Coming to the cliff band, Routin barely hesitated before dropping the cliff, stomping his landing and riding out fast. 76.67 for Routin, enough to take the lead, but with so many riders in the field left to go, it would be a long wait. After a season of podium or bust competition results, Chamonix's Jonathan Dude Charlet was keen to make his mark once more in the men's snowboard category. Heading to the rider's right of the face, Charlet started off with a small 3-meter air that led him onto one of the steeper sections of the venue. With the snowboarders riding first, this face was full of loose powder, but Charlet managed to slough well and set up for a cliff jump below. Going big, Charlet jumped a huge 12-meter air over the rocks, sticking his landing perfectly and gaining plenty of points in this critical section. He quickly reset and jumped another solid 8-meter drop, but landed heavily on his front foot, somersaulting forwards, but riding it out nonetheless. Undaunted, Charlet was immediately back on line with a nice indie grab, landing that and going straight into a 360 off the rollover. A final 4-meter jump capped off Charlet's impressive run, but it remained to be seen how much his tumble would affect his score. Decision was in. 80 points for Jonathan Charlet, and he would knock Routin off the hot seat. Ralph Backstrom, one of the current favorites and early season winner in Revelstoke, did not have a great day at the office in Fieberbrunn. Dropping in rider's right, he rode fluid powder turns in a steep section of the face, but then lost his edge as he entered the cliff band and bounced down the face, just barely keeping it under his feet. Back in control now, Backstrom continued throwing a huge backflip, but careening out of control on his landing. 2 major losses of control would mean no podium for Backstrom at this event. Californian Sammy Lubke came to Fieberbrunn full of confidence off the back of a second-place finish in Kirkwood. Lubke dropped in and traversed riders left. Maintaining his control in this steep section, he rode the ridgeline to hit 2 perfectly executed 4-meter drops. And then charged down the couloir below. And coming fast into the lower section, Lubke hit a series of small, fun airs and spins. But deciding to play it safe, he navigated around the cliffs, which had taken out so many other riders, and dropped a small cliff below to close his account. So 81.67 points for Sammy Lubke meant he would finish first and take first place in the overall rankings going into Verbier.
I love every one of these guys right here. Powder is beautiful, and I love snowboarding.
I don't even know what's happening right now. I guess I got first today. I'm super psyched. Yeah, basically thought the snow was going to be kind of crazy, and snow was powder. And I'm psyched. Yeah, rode good and had a lot of fun.
So what do judges do when they're not working on the Freeride World Tour? They play Freeride World Tour themed Scrabble, of course.
Right, Tom, this one, got a good one for you. The event in Chamonix, 2011, the winning runs, Deloré.
He had a mind-blowing straight line. It was like high speed, cliff to cliff.
Did a really sick double. It was 2 really big airs back to back.
It was just high consequences, and he pulled it like his video parts.
For me, that was one of the best. You can't disagree with that. And look at the number of points.
Point being, this run went down on the Mac Daddy over in Revelstoke this year. Sammy Lubke's run could have won, besides where he caught a rock at the top.
4 flips onto his board, and then rip the rest of the run. But no hesitation, no stopping.
No offense to Sam, but how can you put like one of the best run with someone who did a triple, like a tumble at the really top? Okay, it was clean.
Yeah, but you weren't there. You didn't get to see him rip the bottom section.
It was a massive run. I agree with that. No offense, Sammy, but I have the winner of the day, Revelstoke.
Ralph's run at Revelstoke, I think, was one of my favorites. Floated really well, had a big double drop where a lot of skiers were sending it pretty big, and he sent it just as far.
Then he just went behind the trees and got into really good snow, and he had a sneaker cliff in there, popped out, and it was a really well thought out run.
I love it, and he won the contest. And it might even be like the best run of the year, so I am the man. And that's the score of the year as well.
All right, I've got it. You're a man going down. 2010 at Verbier.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty untypical because usually that's a very long face, so people come up with lines that include a lot of features. But he basically did a fluid run to an immense cliff, stuck it, and straight lined out the bottom. So he was down the mountain before people even started looking at his riding properly. And it's a very much a standout line, probably one of the most impressive ones ever done on a tour.
And so technical out the bottom through the rocks.
That was the one, yeah.
Best ever, Xavier.
Oh, Xavier, not Xavier.
Come on, this is English. English.
No way. Oh.
I'm Christine Hagin, I'm from Sweden. I'm a professional freeride skier. Previously I was skiing alpine for many years, like my whole life until I stopped when I was 24. I think my background made me a good freeride skier. I mean, the alpine skiing is the perfect background. You have a perfect base. But I also think there's a huge difference. There's a lot of, you have to learn a lot, like about the mountain and about security and the contest as well, like choosing your own line instead of watching the gates. But in racing there's like very hard packed and groomed ground, so you have to push very hard in your turns and be very aggressive. While in freeride they're supposed to be powder and untracked, and you can be more relaxed and have like much more feeling under your skis. While you're jumping cliffs or taking airtime in freeride, you have to push from the cliffs, and in alpine, like you try to swallow the jump, so you don't jump. So it's quite the opposite. I mean, it's a perfect background, but you still have to adapt a lot to the freeride. The biggest difference in the gear is like the really hard ski boots, tight and hard ski boots in alpine, and the skis, which are much wider in freeride than in alpine, of course. And then the suit, tight dress in racing. It's probably not the thing I miss most of that time. If you want to do the transition from alpine to freeride, you have to ski a lot freeride. Ride with people that are better than you and like film each other and learn about the security and just get used to it, adapt, and then you can take part in either a junior contest or a Freeride World Tour qualifier if you want to end up on the Freeride World Tour. It's important to have some experience to pick the right line, not too dangerous or not too much risks. You can't rush into it. If you're on Bechteros too early, it's not a good thing.
Over in the women's ski category, 2012 defending champion Christine Hargan was out after a knee injury just prior to competition, leaving the title race much more open for the rest of the pack. Riding in bib number 1, America's Jacqueline Passo opened the competition for ski women. Sensible riding in Kirkwood saw her to first place, but it's normally go big or go home for Paso. Headed skiers left, she laid down her first double drop, then opened up the throttle in the untouched powder below. A dynamic Paso then set her sights on the biggest cliff to be dropped in her division that day, sending it with no hesitation and stomping her landing. An excellent top section performance, but Paso would slow it down to the finish, 64 points and third place. Seated second in the overall rankings, Norway's Pia Nick Gundersen dropped in her line next. High up the venue, Gundersen located, then sent her first air off her ridgeline and landed it clean. But she'd lose her footing after a medium-sized cliff drop in the middle section of the course, and tumbling, Gundersen finished the day in 7th place, yet retains her 2nd place overall position heading to the finals in Verbier. Arlberg local Nadine Wallner of Austria has had an incredibly productive first season on the tour, already with 2 second-place finishes under her belt. Opting for skiers left, Wallner echoed Paso's double top drop. Clean execution and kept her run in the fall line with strong high-speed turns. Onto a hefty cliff jump where she narrowly threaded her landing, showcasing her poise and strength in big mountain competition like a seasoned veteran. Wallner continued this explosive run and milked the powder all the way down to the finish line. A well-deserved 75 points from the judges, putting her in the hot seat towards her first ever tour win. But that wasn't it for the Austrians. Lorraine Huber, a podium regular on the Freeride World Qualifying Series, was yet to ride. Huber kept up her pace through the top section of the venue, finding a nice double and delivering a fluid representation of her free riding skill. Riding perhaps a bit too confidently, she sent a lower cliff drop, but lost control in a flat landing and went down. With the stakes so high, Huber was out of the running, a disappointing 16.33 after a fall, and a tough break for Huber. Sweden's Matilda Rappaport came to Fieberbrunn on a wild card, having placed second on the Freeride World Qualifiers, just behind Huber. Realizing her chance here in Fieberbrunn, she gobbled up the same double hit as riders before, then charged down the face. Solid skiing from Rappaport, who would include a technical drop in her line and ride to a 2nd place with 64.33 points. Spectacular performance from the young Swede. Oh yeah, first place at a world tour is just amazing, of course, but the pressure is on now going into Verbier. As usual, the highly contested ski men category would prove no different in Fieberbrunn. As the last stop before the finals in Verbier, 29 riders would go all out to earn their ticket to ride. This season's influx of top-rated North American freeriders has seen big changes in the overall rankings. Riders like Silas Chickering-Ayers from East Coast America. Silas's brother Lars Chickering-Ayers won the last stop of the Freeride World Tour in Kirkwood, and the family would be proud once again. Silas used the entire face and put on an impressive display of mature riding, staying on line and on his feet throughout. With virtually no hesitation, he sailed one of the biggest cliffs of the day, fully compressing on his landing and riding strong to the next feature. Then a second cliff, almost as big as the first for Chickering-Ayers, as he rides out the powder landing and down to the finish. Solid riding and the hot seat for Silas Chickering-Ayers with 81.33 points, the standing leader in ski men. The USA's Drew Tabke has commanded the tour rankings nearly all season, putting down a phenomenal performance all year long. True to form, he launched out of the start gate clearly on a mission to win. Fast and fluid, Tabke charged his line, transferring into a small couloir. Then floating a beautiful right side 360 across the face. His bag of tricks was wide open, continuing with a laid-out backflip towards the bottom. Great riding and flawless delivery from Tabke, but without any large features, 75 points was his lot, placing him well behind Chickering-Ayers and off the podium. Local freerider Matthias Hounholder came to Fieberbrunn in a last-ditch effort to gain the points he needs to ride in Verbier. This will require a top podium finish, a tall order amongst the world's best freeriders gathered here. But Hounholder showed his cards with a fast drop into a couloir, rocketing out of the bottom and skiing strong. But he carried too much speed into his next feature and could not recover his landing, catching a ski and going down. He'd finish on one ski and unfortunately would not be riding in the final. Swiss rider Jeremy Heitz has sat in the number 2 spot all season in the overall rankings after showing impressively consistent form. Heitz nailed his double drop but would overcook a left-hand 360 lower down, losing a ski. Ever the showman, however, he decided to carry on and hucked the cliff below on just one ski. Unfortunately, he landed badly, injuring his hip and ending his season and title run. Best of luck to Jeremy Heitz for a quick recovery. Julien Lopez of Tarentaise, France, has been an equally impressive contender all season long with consistently good results and 2 podiums under his belt. Vying for the same line, Lopez looked strong but got snagged as the snow changed abruptly from good to bad. A hard slam for Lopez, who was clearly fuming in the finish but will remain a force to be reckoned with in Verbier. Reigning 2012 world champion Rene Barkerud of Sweden is no stranger to pressure. Despite an average season thus far, he has characteristically gained momentum and remains a constant threat in the back of the other riders' minds. Without missing a beat, Barkerud charged into his line, and it was clear he was bent on taking home a podium in Fieberbrunn. He stomped his landing off the mandatory cliff and continued fluid down the venue, sending 2 more drops flawlessly. Silent but deadly, Barkerud's sights are set on winning the title. 79 points from the judges pushed him into 4th place in the rankings and offered him a real shot to bring it home in Verbier. But the action wasn't quite over yet. Fellow Swede Ville Lindberg was poised in the start, and having toasted a podium finish earlier this season at Chamonix, he was hungry to better Barkerud. Heading skiers right, Lindberg followed Barkerud's line in the top section, throwing down a fast yet controlled run. Setting up for the big cliff, Lindberg would send it bigger than Barkerud, staying well over his skis and riding strong down the fall line. He'd find one more fresh landing off a lower rock band, and that would seal Lindberg's fate. He had ousted Barkerud from 2nd place with a score of 80.67. Still shy of the lead, and elated Lindberg is now in 6th position and well inside the cut for the finals.
This is awesome. It's good to be here in the sun. I'm glad we waited, and I had a great run with some POW, which was nice. Free skiing is a tough thing to judge, and I guess I had a couple pretty big errors, and I think that made the difference. But there are so many good lines, and I wouldn't want to be a judge.
This afternoon we will have a judging session, so the juniors will understand better how we judge, positive and negative points, which will help them to better choose their line and score better.
It's really important to give an environment for the juniors to come in and learn about mountain safety, learn about risk assessment. It's a really high level.
The start list for the Freeride juniors in Fieberbrunn was packed with young talent, upping the level a good notch from previous years. Ski and snowboard divisions were on offer for both boys and girls aged 12 to 17 years old. Local rider Laurence Hausschmidt took home the win for junior men's snowboard with an all-out display. Francis Pierre Cologne follows suit for the junior men's ski, spinning his way to the top of the podium. Lots of fun and lots to learn for these riders gunning for the Junior Freeride World Championships. It's my final year in the junior category. I really like to ride with the seniors, but it's a lot of work, and next season I think I'll be riding the Freeride qualifiers. With the 2014 Winter Olympics just around the corner, freerider Janina Kuzma, who came in 6th place on last year's tour, has been taking a break from freeriding in order to qualify for next year's Olympic halfpipe competition in Sochi, Russia. Training in Breckenridge and Copper Mountain, Kuzma has been following the World Cup halfpipe season and is now ranked 12th. She hopes to compete again next season on the FWT and will look forward to seeing her competing once again. In the next episode, the tour moves to Verbier, Switzerland for the final of the Freeride World Tour. Here, the best riders will battle it out for the title of Freeride World Champion. We'll see you there.